Welcome to Marlo Monday. I'm your host, Steve Reynolds. And I'm fascinated by the idea that when Marlo published items during one period, in many cases he was sharing material he had held back for decades. If we look at the dated notes, which he included in the article that was published, we find that items published in, say, 1974 were actually from notes of 1956. Now, Marlo didn't want that date, that 1956 date, to be the citation, but he included it to track his creative continuum. And believe me, it was a true continuum. He would add finesses and fixes, little details that would take good tricks and make them miracles. And this happened time and time again, but he would use those dates to track that continuum. And the fascinating part is that those early ideas that would later be published were actually revolutionary for the time of publication. But Marlo didn't ever look back. Instead, he continued to look forward. In fact, he would critique some of the older guys that would come back, they knew in the, say, the 40s, that would then come back in and try to play the publishing game. And he would critique them. They're still stuck in the 40s. Meaning that the ideas didn't evolve. Marlo was an evolutionary card magician, as Rocker Bomber puts it. He always looked forward to the future, pushing card magic wherever he could. Now, when I do these talks and performances, I want to remind you that these are not my interpretations of Marlo's ideas. These are directly out of the books and magazines and articles that I'm reading and that I've read over the last 20 years. And I try to do them justice. Let's look at one of my all-time favorite Marlo effects. And I think one of the best methods for this effect, in my opinion. And that's the rub, too. If you look, if there were so many methods, and he gets criticized for this, for having so many methods, and it's usually, well, he just wants to publish everything about card magic so he can get his name into print. That's how they sound. That's in my mind. But in fact, he's writing for you, the student. And of course, obviously he was a creative guy and he wanted to get his ideas into print and get credit for that, his creativity. But ultimately, it comes down to you, the student, the reader, the co-creator, the performer. And so having multiple methods allow you to find the one that fits you. And as an example, there's a great trick in Marlo Magazine Volume 3 that Malone did on the Malone Meets Marlo, where there were a number of methods in the magazine, Marlo Magazine. And when I was younger, I wasn't a very good left-handed palmer. I could palm in the right hand, but for some reason my left hand, I'm a dominant right. Left hand, kind of clunky-looking hand when I palmed. So I used an easier method, which Marlo had supplied. So I was able to do that trick. He says, for those that don't like palming, here's another method. Now I'm able to palm. So now I go back to the first method, the preferred method, and now I can do Marlo's preferred method. Well, thank you, Marlo, for letting me or giving me the tools I need to do the effect, but also the challenge of striving for better magic. And that was Marlo's main contribution, is getting people to think, getting people to challenge themselves, and getting people to move forward as individuals so that we can help push card magic in the right direction. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing these talks, to remind you what great magic is. We've gone off track somewhere along the line. Marlo has been marginalized. It's time to put him back in his rightful place. The snap, crackle, and pop boys have taken over the ranch. Let's get to it. Something in the mental realm. Sounds exciting already, doesn't it?
Very exciting.
It's a very simple idea. You're going to think of a card. Wait a while. Should be face down. I don't want you to be influenced in any way.
Okay.
But I want you to touch any card. You have a choice. Just touch any one. Okay? Look at it. Show the camera. And now gather up those cards.
Right?
And give them a quick mix. Quick mix. All right. Now, we will mix these up a little bit. And keep that card firmly in mind. The card you're thinking of, in your mind. Now notice, we put these cards face down in the face-up pack. So those are the 5 possibilities. 5 possibilities. Now I'm not going to ask you anything except what the card was. I'm not going to shuffle or cut the cards. For the first time, D'Artagnan, what card did you think of?
10 of diamonds.
Watch. Ten of diamonds.
Boom.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us, and we will end from the words of Brother John, Rocker Bomber, in his wonderful book, compilation, At the Table. But the greatest, all-around sleight-of-hand artist is Edward Marlo. He executes more sleights better than anyone else, and he can execute cumbersome, impractical, and angle-critical moves with such effortless smoothness. They whiz through your unsuspecting sensorium like quarks in a cloud chamber, much faster than proverbial speeding bullets. Other times he is laid back in the shade. Both the how and when is under his supreme control. Thanks again, guys. Till next time.